What's going on, you guys? TYT Army, even to those of you that aren't, what's up? This is Jayar Jackson. I'm back again, you guys. It's been about a week since I've had a chance to talk to you guys, but something just had to strike me, I guess, to really think about how to go about this today. My camera's bobbing. There's a couple things that struck near and dear to me that I've been reading in the news. Everything is surrounded COVID-19, the coronavirus, everything, anything else you may want to call it. That's what's dominating the news. But surprisingly, there's one aspect of it that broke at least yesterday, and I don't think it's been getting much attention, but I think it leads to something that I predicted silently, quietly in my mind yesterday. And it's one of those things that I wished maybe I had said out loud because I can get a little bit, a little bit of a prediction thing going on. But number one, I hope you guys are doing fine. Number two, I think my quarantine beard is beginning to finally come in. I did trim a couple points to make sure I didn't look like a complete mess. Just a partial mess today for you guys. But I wanted to get into this story because I wondered how far I could really go. So let's get right to it. Apparently there is a tiger at the Bronx Zoo that has tested positive for the coronavirus. This is something I'm not sure if many people were considering could be a possibility, but it has become a reality to many of us. So more details on the tiger. Nadia, she's a 4-year-old female Malayan tiger at the Bronx Zoo. She tested positive for it, as I mentioned. Also, along with her sister Azul, 2 Amur tigers and 3 African lions developed a dry cough, and they're all expected to recover. Now, this didn't specifically say if the rest of those animals were positive for the virus, but they did say that they're experiencing some of the symptoms. So they're probably treating them all the same. Now, you wonder maybe how did this happen? We're now crossing over to animals from humans with this disease, which of course we know it started with a cross-contamination with animals over in China. So what they did discover was they think that it was infected by a person caring for them. So one of the zookeepers that was caring for them that was asymptomatic, but also was carrying the virus, potentially gave it to the tiger, to the tiger at the zoo. So, and then it began to spread to other places. So the question that immediately became was, how does this affect everyone else? Because, we think about the tigers, we worry about the fact that they're hurt, but then to the degree, where does it lead to everything else? So what they did also discover was they asked, since it's gone to these tigers and lions, the immediate question from the zoo became, we have to contain our animal population, make sure that they're all safe. So the question became, are tigers and lions more susceptible? Do they have to worry about other big cats, snow leopards, cheetahs? They mentioned the clouded leopard and the puma. Those are also different big cats that are at this particular zoo. But already, things like the primates, they said the zookeepers have been making extra efforts to protect their apes because the similarities of their makeup and their body, how it could also maybe affect, and they could contract the virus, and it spreads like wildfire through other zoos that have their primate sections. It's another concern to be worried about. But there was multiple parts of this that I thought was really interesting. So the reason I talked about my prediction that I didn't say out loud was, so what if animals get it? How many people are around animals on a daily basis? Everyone has one. So of course they dove into that too. Let's look at the official statement. The zoo's press release said that animals are not thought to be able to transmit the disease to humans other than the initial incident at the wet market, of course, in Wuhan, China, as I mentioned a second ago. But this is what tripped me out. Several domestic animals had previously tested for SARS-CoV-2, which is the virus that causes COVID-19, including a Pomeranian, a German Shepherd, both in Hong Kong, and also a domestic cat in Belgium. So we've gotten to the domesticated animals, animals that people have around their houses, which is, I'm sure, a vast majority of, not even majority, but a vast number of Americans and people around the world have these animals as companions in their houses, especially say you live alone, that's your only companion. Now you have to not be concerned about whether or not you're going to be spreading viruses to your animals, even if you're asymptomatic. But the question in my head, because you guys know how I think, is what if your animal has it and they can spread it back the other way? That was, of course, was asked. But they said there's no reason to believe, there's another piece of paper, there's no reason to believe that your animal can spread it back to you just because of they haven't seen any evidence of that yet. Now, when I see you haven't seen any evidence or cases of that yet, all I'm thinking is well, let's continue to be cautious. Let's continue to not have anything to have your animals all up in your faces. Here, I have one. Sprocket, come here. 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 Sprocket knows better. Come on. That's Sprocket. So, Sprocket, the dog that lives in my house. So, this shall be the closest Sprocket gets to me from now on until this whole thing is over, because I'm a paranoid person. And Mr. Sprocket was brought into my house by my wife and my child, not by me. So he lives with me, not officially my dog. He's a nice guy, but he's not going to be in my face. He's not going to be licking me. He never was before, so I think I'm pretty good. Good job, Sprocket. Thank you. Good guy. Get on out of here. Okay, so continuing on to some of these points, because this goes deeper. It's crazy. So they're saying you can't pass it, your animals can't pass it on to you, which, fine, I'll believe it, but I'm still waiting for all these things. Everything is so new about this. We want to make sure that we have it all figured out. So I think just one precaution is, which is a precaution I believe I've always taken part in, and I would advise others: don't let your dogs lick you. Don't let your animals lick you. Don't lick your animals. Don't eat out of your dog's bowls. I don't know the things that people do, but it disturbs me at times. Moving on. But they did point this out. I'm sorry. This is one more aspect of whether or not your animals, should be there with you, and whether or not you should be doing all the things that you should do. People that have had it, one of those cases was a man in Italy who later tested positive for the virus. They also discovered, I believe it was his cat that contracted it from him. So those things can happen. We haven't seen vice versa yet, and I hope we don't, because that kind of sets up for mass amounts of people with their animals. We take them out on walks every day, of course. You take your dog out for a walk, and then you don't know what they've encountered, what they've come across. Their faces and feet are in the most disgusting places anyway, and you bring them right back into your house. The precautions that at least are being taken in my house, you should see, are not being adhered to for the dog. And it's just a natural human instinct. You're not gonna think, hey, let me go ahead and take my dog's shoes off at the door. Let me drop some hand sanitizer on my dog's paws. No, people don't do that stuff. So if they're walking in with any kind of transmission of it from wherever it could be, we're also all exposed. Not necessarily transmitting, but exposed. Think about the wording there. And lastly, if you're wondering, if you're one of those people that's wondering, which I wasn't, but I'm glad that this was brought up, they're testing tigers at the Bronx Zoo for COVID-19. Isn't there a shortage of tests in America, and probably generally worldwide, just to test enough people so we have the numbers and we can track and we can get this thing contained? That's one of the major problems, is the number of tests. Why are tigers and lions and snow leopards and apes taking our tests? Well, you can rest easy, because they did think of that. And they said, no human in need of a test lost one to a tiger, because, quote, this is from the Bronx Zoo. Because, quote, you cannot send human samples to the veterinary laboratory, and you cannot send animal tests to the human laboratories. So there's no competition for testing between these very different situations. Of course, the press release says that was Paul Kaye, I believe, of the Bronx. He's the Bronx Zoo chief veterinary. He said that in a statement. So rest easy. The way that they're testing animals is in a veterinary controlled setting versus the human testings that need particular tests that we're very short on, and also are not able to get the numbers fully on. So I think this all checks clean. At least they're not prioritizing animals over humans that are at risk and potentially infected. But we do possibly see the connection that comes. Humans can give it to animals, but at this point, animals can't give it back to us. We'll see how that works. Animals are still innocent, my friend, but not innocent enough for me to just let them all in my face. Hope you guys enjoyed. I should probably come on at least once a week to let you guys know my thoughts. When it came to animals and being worried about them in your face, this one spoke to me, and I had to come and talk to you guys. So again, as always, this is just a general a general statement, you guys. Be safe, social distancing, throw on the masks. If you live in a state that hasn't asked you to quarantine or at least limit your outdoor activities, please do so anyway, as much as you can. We know what essential activities are. I understand everyone's stir crazy, but this is part of the lockdown. I think I'm at the end of my third week of lockdown. I've gone a little bit crazy, but we're still gonna do it. Thank you guys. Love you as always. Be safe. Keep your animals safe. We'll catch you guys next time.